Welcome back, fellow warriors, to the stage of history. My name is Cosmo Jazz, and today I'm back at it again with another top 5 video for you guys. This one will be the top 5 characters you should try as a beginner for the Soul Calibur series. Now, a couple of things to go through before we start. One, this is going to be a very subjective list because everyone is different in how they approach a situation. So after watching, feel free to add your beginner characters down in the comments below. Now, I want things to be completely clear, so I have like 3 things to say right now. A, just because your favorite characters aren't on this list does not mean that they are trash or beginner friendly. B, just because I do have them on this list does not mean they cannot be used outside beginning levels. In fact, I do believe that some of these characters are part of the top tier as far as Soul Calibur series go. And C, the criteria used for this list is based on how easy it is to pick up and play these characters, what you can learn from these characters, and what can you take from these characters in order to use with other characters that you might want to try later down the line. Lastly, I'm going to have to hold on to the Soul Calibur legacy for a bit due to Monster Hunter World grinding, as well as trying different content for the channel so that it's always not Soul Calibur stuff. But for those who are waiting for the next episode of Soul Calibur Legacy, just know that it is coming, just not as soon as you might want. Truly last, before we get started, I want to put a huge disclaimer on why Maxi is not on this list. In my opinion, Maxi creates bad habits for the beginner. The reason for this is because you can literally keep pressing vertical and horizontal attacks and go into multiple stance changes and attacks with ease, which tempts many people to just mash their way through any situation. And that is definitely not good in this game, because then they'll go online being like, I'm the best that can be, and then meet somebody who knows that they're mashing and just guard impacts them to death and punishes them to perfects, like 3 perfects in a row. So, when they should be learning how to play the game, do the 8-way run and whatnot, they're not learning with Maxi. And then they end up being at step 1, or they wasted all that time learning Maxi when they could have been doing step 10. Now, before we also start, I'm not saying Maxi is a bad character. It's just maybe you shouldn't start with Maxi, just in my opinion. Now, without further ado, here we go with the top 5 characters you should try for beginners. Small disclaimer, I don't have any of these in any particular order. Alright, so now we can start with number 5, Sung Mina. Sung Mina is my personal favorite on this list because I feel she really has a lot of great tools and fairly easy to play with her good range pokes and nice vertical attacks to keep your opponent out. And she has a couple of nice 1-button or directional 1-button attacks to get you started. That being said, her horizontal game is going to take a little practice to fully understand, and her pressure game isn't the greatest against people who are very fast, which is why distance is kind of key, which is also a perfect reason to have her because when you're in the beginner levels, you kind of don't want to be up in somebody's face at the start because, I mean, they'll probably just guard and impact you and stuff. Number 4, we have my boy Cervantes. Cervantes is another character who has some pretty good button combinations and not too bad mid to close range. And being an old boss character, he has some pretty sick stuff like teleport and nice mix-up. Also, for the most part, minus the teleports, he's a pretty straightforward character, so you can learn the game for what it is with this character, while doing some pretty cool stuff. That being said, his horizontals kinda go to his short sword for the most part, so make sure you're a bit close with him. Also, his kick game isn't the greatest, but his other attacks make up for it in my opinion. So if you're looking for somebody with like, oh, I can use quick kicks and stuff like that, maybe not go with Cervantes, but Hey, that's my opinion. Okay, so at this point it's raining outside, so I hope you guys can't hear that. But number 3, we're going to have Sophitia. Sophitia is a very good character with many quick attacks and mix-ups. She can get up in your face and really put pressure on your opponent, and has good kick attacks to boot, though some take a lot of startup. And she has a stab attack that is a fireball motion that can go under some horizontal attacks, and it's very quick. You might have seen it when I did my Soul Calibur playthrough on the arcade mode. Now the drawback is that her range is a little bit shorter than most, and because of that, she has to extend herself to very dangerous situations against characters like, let's say, Keelik and Sun Mina, for example, where they can poke her out and whatnot, and she has to really try to get in there somehow. Also, this can make it kind of awkward for ring out situations where you're trying not to get ring out or you're trying to ring out the opponent, so keep that in mind as you're playing her. Number 2 is Keelik. My boy Keelik is my favorite character in the series. He excels in long range attacks, keeps opponents at bay, and uses tricks here and there to keep his opponents off their game. He has many fun moves that are easy to learn and great horizontal and vertical attacks. That being said, he's using a staff, so he has to wind up his attacks a little to strike. And up close, that's not a good thing against faster characters like Taki or Talon. So be sure to try and not get into a close brawl if you don't have to, because more often than not you're going to lose that, especially against Taki's very fast strikes. And at number 1 we have Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi, in my opinion, is the all-around, hard-hitting, fast, strong, everything. He has a great short range as well as a great mid-range. He has a lot of mids and lows to keep your opponent on their feet, and once you get used to him, you can add his stance game for great pressure. That being said, that is also a weakness, because starting out, it's going to be weird getting used to his stances and what they can do. Also, be wary of his big moves, because they tend to leave him way open if you're just throwing them out willy-nilly. Also, it might be just me, and if anybody can confirm this down below, I would love to hear it. I mean, literally anybody. But I think his 8-way run tends to start slower than most, like going from left to right or right to left or whatever. I feel like it has a slow start before it really gets going. It could be just me though. And with that, we conclude with this list. Overall, I think these guys are sure to help you get good at the game, or whatever you need. Remember, as stated before, this list is subjective, and because of that, I'd like to reiterate, put down your characters you think will be good to start the Soul Calibur series with, as well as why. The video's main goal is to help the newcomers to come to the game, because I would really like this game to be successful. Now, if you enjoyed this list, be sure to hit that like button. Maybe subscribe to help me hit 100 subs on YouTube, and maybe share with your friends. And any of those things help in a huge way, I promise you that. But finally, ask yourself this one question: does your soul still burn? Bye guys, have a blessed day.